you like aliens and conspiracy theories?
Yes, I do. I think that we are definitely a small little piece of dust in a giant swimming pool. Because I've always said it too. We're just, have fun. As soon as the aliens get here, get ready. Because I think it's, at least with me, like, this is not going to end well. I do the math on that, and it's just, there's no way. The universe is just so massive. And like, really? We're the ones? We're the ones that get all the life? Okay. All right. And some people still think we're flat. And I'm just like, okay. I always like to imagine like an anthill. There's all these ants on the hill, and they're just all about their own little thing that's going on. They're just going out. They're collecting food for the queen. They're building their nest, and that's all they know. They have no idea that, on the other side of the world, there's another anthill and millions of anthills from here to there. They just think that that's them right there. Maybe there's aliens that are nice and pleasant, and they want to help grow other species and stuff like that. And there's got to be some aliens that are dicks. There's got to be the dicks of their community, and they're like, they will die, and freaking, incinerate versus helping to grow. Because like, for example, we're right there trying to teach chimps sign language to better communicate with them. We want to help them, be their best version of them to try to understand and communicate. And what's to say that that's not what's happening out there? Like, we see these freaking hairless things down there. They're they're walking around. They know how to hold sticks and stuff like that. They can be taught. They can be taught, because the amount of technology that we have, developed in 200 years, not even 200 years, is insane. Yeah. When you think about, how long ago it was just a horse and a wagon. And like, smoke signals were like, oh my God, right? Like they're sending smoke signals and like, look at that. They're look at, ooh. And now it's like you send a text and literally anywhere in the world.
It's crazy.
And that's mind-boggling when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
The truth is out there.
It's Mayim Bialik's breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you, because she knows a thing or two. And now she's gonna break down. It's a breakdown. She's gonna break it down.
Hi, I'm Mayim Bialik.
And I'm Jonathan Cohen.
And welcome to our breakdown. It's the place where we hang out with people and talk with them for a while and see what happens. And that's what we're doing today.
You're so chill and relaxed, Mayim.
That's me.
There's barely a plan. There's no structure.
No plan.
I
got a piece of paper with some things written on it, and we are going to welcome Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
What?
That's right. One of the world's most successful stand-up comedians. We've done an episode with him on Zoom, but we went and saw him in person, and we were just really moved and wowed by what his kind of in-person persona is on a stage, as opposed to like the stadium. Like, oh, by the way, he made history as the first comedian to perform at and sell out the largest MLB stadium in the U.S. when he did his special at Dodger Stadium. But he kind of took a little bit of a break and went back to his comedy roots, as it were. And we were so moved by what he's like in person and just the skill with which he crafts comedy, especially in front of an audience like that. We had to have him on again. Well, one of the things we're going to talk about is he had a near-death plane experience with two exceptional, unusual, terrifying things happen in one flight. He's going to talk about it in a way that I have not heard him talk about. He's also going to talk about burnout, what that feels like, and what are the things that he's been doing to sort of remedy that.
We also get him a birthday present and talk about aliens.
And finally, hot take. It's been in the news and is probably going to be in the news from now until we destroy this planet. His take on AI and what it means for performers. Very interesting perspective. We're so excited to welcome him in person. So let's get to it. Break it down. We're going to talk about the Funko Soda situation first, because this is really awesome.
Isn't it?
So I have several questions. There's a figure inside, correct? It's this.
In theory, that's the figure it should be.
Okay.
But there is a chase figure.
Okay. So like there could be something special in there?
There could be something
So I
special
have
in
to
there.
keep buying them.
Yes, it's
Okay,
one in
we have
in
6.
every 6. So
Go get the rest.
if you got 6, I
Go get the
guarantee you that
rest.
one of them is.
Are you sick? Can we open them? Do you mind if we do
Let's
this in front
let's
of you?
open them, yeah.
Okay. So wait, is it going to pop out like snakes?
No, it's not like old school. Yeah, a lot of people don't.
I was very afraid.
I don't think they have those now.
So wait, what do you do? You just...
You
No,
twist.
you
You pull. You pull twist.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
There you go.
I literally thought it was going to be.
And you know what? You don't even have to open it
Oh
to
my-
find out. The little pog inside
You got a
will
little
tell you.
pog.
So let me see
So
the pog.
I got you.
Yeah, that's the right.
Okay.
That's the chase.
Yes!
That's the chase.
We got one.
We got
You got
one.
a check.
I'm
I
not
want
sure.
to open
No.
it. I want to open it.
All right, here we go.
He got the chase.
Yeah, so that's the different.
Oh.
That's the different figure right
Oh
there.
my gosh. I will fight you for that. I'll punch you in the face for that.
I bet you will.
Oh, this is really.
And so what'll happen
This
at
is
the?
adorable.
I'm telling you, what'll happen at the stores
Oh my
is
gosh.
because the sodas are located right by the register. What'll happen
Yes.
is people will go in and they'll open up the cans in looking for the chase.
Yeah, yeah.
And so all you need to know is that the little pog will
the
tell
pog
you.
tells you.
Tells you. see?
What? What?
It has
I
the dot.
want it.
We'll have a little negotiation
Here's the
afterwards.
babies.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. No, I want to.
Look, I'm special
You-
because I got the
wanna
special.
see
Oh,
it.
okay, fine.
Too cute, right?
What?
They're
Yes.
Really.
And the tongue
With my
is
dogs,
out.
yes, her tongue is always out.
Okay, this is incredible. So 1 in every 6
One
is
in every
this
6.
adorableness. Oh my gosh. Also, this one has your logo on the back.
Yes, it does.
This one does not.
That one does not.
How
I
many
also- oh.
prototypes do you go through? I'm thinking like the merch angle
It's
of this.
adorable.
Like you have an idea. It's not so easy to like develop the packaging and like get these things to be as cool as they are. Because like all of your merch is like super high end, a lot of detail. My son wears your backpack to school every day.
The Loungefly backpack.
Yeah, he loves it.
The process, the creative process is a lot of back and forth with the not necessarily a physical
Right.
Yeah,
bag
yeah.
or physical figure,
Right.
but a lot of just artwork. So they'll send over artwork, and then we go back and forth approving it, making little changes here and
I
there.
mean, also it's so iconic. I mean, you have an iconic face. Like, it's so recognizable.
Thank you.
And, no, but I'm saying like that's how you capture it.
And what's awesome is they have amazing artists over there, and they all have a pretty good idea of who they're designing for. It's an actual person, not necessarily like a character that they're tied into, like a Batman or a
Right.
Superman or something like that. So with me, they know they can play.
It's adorable.
Well, shout out to your artists because they do a wicked job.
It's really cool. Sorry, I'm all about that you got the chase one. Why
And
is
how to
it,
pick.
why is it called
I
Chase?
know a guy. I can get you more.
Why is it called Chase?
Well, it's the chase figure because the majority of the figures are going to be like the red one.
Right.
So the chase is the
I'm
the,
gonna keep
the
chasing
secret
it.
the secret
Oh, I
figure.
see.
That's the one that's hard to get.
I love it. Okay, sorry.
You get really distracted by
I'm very,
figurines
very excited.
and
Well,
collectibles.
I want him always looking at me.
Nice.
There we go. This is very cool.
I actually was saying that this outfit that Mayim is wearing would
is
be
my
the
iconic-
perfect figurine outfit for her.
My rainbow.
That would
skirt.
work.
So, how has your summer been?
How has my summer been? You know what? Living in Southern California, it's actually been pretty great because I travel to places where it gets really hot.
Yeah.
We complain a lot here,
Yeah.
but we have no idea for the most part. Most people don't know just how ugly weather can be.
Yeah.
We're very privileged in this state, which is why everything is so expensive. But then you go somewhere where it's not only hot, but
Yeah.
humid,
That's not.
and you're
okay.
just like, oh my God, how? Why? And I do a lot of fairs.
Yeah.
And so during the summertime, I'll perform outdoors. And so I'm there on stage sweating. It's hot,
Yeah.
like 100 plus.
Right.
And it's humid. And I'm dealing with bugs
Yeah.
and dirt and stuff. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then I come home and I'm like, oh my God, it's 89. Wah. Wah.
The ocean is right there. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's true. What do you do if it's just you time and not kind of work time in the summer? Are you a beach person or are you just a
No,
hangout?
I don't do the beach. I love the look of the beach, but I hate feeling sand between my toes. It's
Oh.
this weird thing where the texture and just
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Huh.
But I'm weird with anything between my toes. So like for example, when I'll go get pedicures, and I'm good until the lady
The thing is,
goes right in between, and I'm like no, and then I flip out.
Jonathan wears toe stretchers.
I do.
Do you know what a toe stretcher is? We won't make you put them on.
What like the socks that go all the way
No.
down, or
So they're
like a spread something that
Yeah,
spreads
they're
your toes
rubber.
out? Yes.
yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous, is what it is.
Yeah, I can't. That would be like anxiety for me.
Jonathan, why do you do that? What's the thing with toe spread? There's a physiological reason that he does this.
Okay. We're going to expand a little bit here. So when I had my hip surgery, I got a hip replacement almost 2 years ago. And when I was doing the rehab for it, they do this process called neuromuscular reeducation, which is helping you remove your body. So like after the hip surgery, like I couldn't move my leg for the first few days. And it's like the strangest feeling because I know how to move my leg, I think, and I send that signal down to my leg and the leg doesn't move. And so this is very true of after an injury, but actually, even as we get older, we lose the ability to move different parts of our body. And one of the ways that you can see that is like some people can move their toes independently of one another. And another test is like, can you pick your big toe up and leave your other toes down? Can you pick all your toes up and put just your big toes down?
You realize I'm doing this as we speak right now, right?
I can see your concentration.
I'm like, okay, yeah, both toes are up.
And a lot of people can't do that. And a lot of people also have lost the ability to move their pinky toes. So what happens is that...
I'm still good.
Is that...
Yeah, wait. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's very impressive.
One, yeah.
And so as we lose more ability to move our feet, obviously that impacts our balance and it impacts everything else. So the toe spreaders are like, we often are in shoes or other things that are compressing our toes. So they spread them back out and they help us sort of just decompress. So I wear them, but not all the time. Sometimes I do. This was related to hip surgery because I couldn't move my toes a lot. And so she started reconnecting me to be able to do that. Last point on this is that what I think is fascinating, just in a well-being standpoint, is that our lack of ability to move them is not necessarily a physical limitation. It's actually that the signal isn't traveling, and that can be repaired, which I think is super cool.
So yeah, I don't go to the beach.
I don't wear flip-flops because I don't like that sensation of a shoe between the,
I haven't worn flip-flops in forever. I have a lot of slides, but actual flip-flop, like, I think I can handle that first part.
No.
That big toe.
No, just thinking about it,
I think I'm okay with that first part.
I get like a tickle in the back of my neck.
But the rest of the toes, no, not at all.
Interesting.
But you still get your feet done.
I go, I like the what is it, the paraffin wax and the scrub. And the only part that gets a little bit is when I get the pumice stone and they start scrubbing the bottom of your feet. And then it's like, when they're hitting dead skin, no problem. You can't feel it. But
at a certain point, it's not dead anymore. At a certain point,
it's not dead anymore. And then it's like, oh, God.
They use don't they use essentially what's like a cheese grater?
I'm not at that level. No, I know some people that
the Parmigiano Reggiano at fancy restaurants, they sometimes use that on people's feet. I call it
the Olive Garden, the little snow.
They Olive Garden your feet.
They Olive Garden your feet. But no, as far as me time goes, just being at home with my dogs, crank the AC even though I don't have to. Yeah. But I like 68 degrees, so that's I like to feel a little cold because then I would just want to grab a blanket.
Yeah.
I have a lot of dog blankets, so I just grab a dog blanket and the dogs are like, yeah, let's stay warm.
Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by Puree. I try to eat clean. And I prioritize pure ingredients for myself and for my kids as much as I possibly can. And that doesn't just stop at the food I eat, but also the supplements that I use, especially the protein powder that I use. As a vegan, I have to make sure I get enough protein, and actually all of us need to get enough protein, and also calcium for my muscles and bones. That's why I was so excited to discover the PB Plant Protein Booster from Puree. It's made with premium pea protein and red algae from the Northern Atlantic and was Purity awarded by the Clean Label Project. Puree is pure origin, potency, and peace of mind. They believe in full transparency with all of their products, including their PB Plant Protein Booster. Each batch is third-party tested by the Clean Label Project against more than 200 contaminants, including heavy metals, pesticides, glyphosate, bisphenols, and residual solvents. And every Puree product comes with a QR code with those specific test results. That is extremely rare, my friends. I use Puree's PB Plant Protein Booster in my smoothies. That's how I like to use it. It's super delicious. It's not grainy at all, which is typically my complaint about every vegan protein powder. And it comes in this neutral flavor, so it doesn't compete with all of the delicious things that I want to put in my smoothies. And my kids drank all of it, which is the greatest seal of approval for any plant protein booster. But don't just take my word for it. With Puree, you can find the actual data behind every batch, which makes Puree a supplement brand you can trust. Right now, Puree is offering our listeners 20% off their PB Plant Protein Booster and all of their great products. Go to my special URL, puree.com/breakdown, and use the promo code BREAKDOWN. This even applies to the already discounted subscriptions. You'll get almost a third off the price. go to PUORI.com/breakdown. Don't wait. Use promo code breakdown at puree.com/breakdown. Mayim Bialik's Breakdown is supported by BetterHelp. We've all had times where we felt uncertain about where we were going in life, myself included. Sometimes we're faced with tough choices and we cannot see the path forward. Maybe you're dealing with decisions surrounding career or relationships or really anything. Well, I'm here to tell you therapy can help you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life so that you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Therapy is an absolute no-brainer for me. I have to go. I now want to go. And I can tell when I haven't gone because I start snapping at people and doubting myself and not being able to see the clear path forward. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/break today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/break.
So you had an interesting thing happen in that you were on a private jet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
happy to be here. Lucky to be here.
Yeah, no kidding. And I know you've spoken about it, and obviously it made news and we were very concerned about you. We consider you a friend and we were very, very concerned. And I know you've talked about it, so I'm not going to make you kind of recount all the gory details unless you'd like to. But what I'm interested in is like, there are many people who are afraid of flying, right? They're just, it's like a thing.
It's a thing.
And what we're usually told to tell those people is like, it's very, statistically speaking.
Safer than cars, statistically
safer than
speaking.
cars, like safer than going to San Francisco to Whole Foods. Like, it's a safe thing. And then you experienced something which indeed was extremely unusual, right?
Did your life flash before your eyes just for a moment?
It did. It did. I was very shaky right out. As soon as the plane stopped, I was just like,
So-
I felt like I was about to have a panic attack for sure.
Well, so there's like two things that happened in that there was intense, insane turbulence.
Yes. So
talk about kind of what that was.
Well, we flew. It was a very short flight. It was only supposed to be like a little under an hour, flying from Alabama to North Carolina.
Okay.
And as soon as we left the ground, it was the weather was a thing. We get
what
into
was the weather?
It was raining.
Oh, okay.
It was raining.
Okay.
But we went into a really dark gray cloud.
Oh.
And as soon as we hit that cloud,
The
it
dark
was
night of
like,
the soul.
the whole plane just, you got the regular turbulence that we're used to. And then this one, it dropped.
Oh, no.
And so I left my seat because I didn't wear a seatbelt because it's a private flight. And ain't nobody there to yell at me and tell me to put on a seatbelt. So I basically went up and I hit the, the ceiling. And my dogs were on dog beds and you just see the dog beds.
No.
Yeah. And then everything wound up on the floor. Like just, magazine.
So-
it was a private flight.
Right.
So, I mean, there's all
How
kinds
many
of
people?
stuff out. About 6-7 people on that plane.
Okay, so not a lot of people. Are people, and I'm asking because I'm legitimately like, you think you know what you would do in that situation? Like, do people, like, is there screaming? Like, I would just start crying. Like, I think that would be my...
I was probably the loudest one. Everybody else kind of went into like quiet, uncomfortable. Like that, like nervous. People were nervous laughing.
Yeah. And you...
Well, I'm dramatic.
Right.
So,
so like, was it like, oh my God, what came to you in that moment?
Well, as soon as I hit and I came back down on my seat, first thing I did was I grabbed my phone because I wanted to record and document whatever, This could be it. You know what I mean? And as soon as I hit record, the plane levels out. I'm like, really? Nothing? But then when we came in for the landing.
Right, so then this is the second thing that happened.
So when we came in for the landing, usually, you'll hear and feel the plane's engines.
Right.
And then you kind of come in and it starts to glide and then you touch down and then the reverse thrusters kick in and then you feel yourself slow down.
There was no EU.
There was no EU and the thrusters did not turn on. And so we just kept going at the same speed.
No.
There was no slowing down. We touched and kept going. And it was weird because I could actually see when we came in a little bit of at an angle. And they told me that it's common for planes to come in a little bit of an angle and at the last second it turns and straightens out. But I could see the runway. and through my window,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm looking at it like this. You know what I mean? But I should be.
Yeah.
I can see it from the window,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
facing this way.
That's the wrong angle.
That's the wrong angle. And it just started. It kept going. It kept going, and then you just see grass and dirt hitting the windows. And that was crazy.
So was this unrelated to the turbulent event, or we don't know?
I don't know if whatever happened in the
Because either
sky,
one of those things is shitty, and they both happened.
I'm not a pilot, or
Right.
I'm not an expert or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think maybe whatever happened up there
I see.
messed with
Whatever had to happen
whatever
down
happened
there.
on the ground. Yeah, and that's why we went and we ended up in a field.
So did that feel? Again, I'm asking you as a scientist. Did that feel fast or slow? Meaning that experience. Was it like it went like that, or like I'm in an eternity of hell?
No, it felt like it was forever. Even though it was only an hour trip, it still felt like, oh my God, it just
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw dirt and grass, and then I looked to the window and I'm like, wow, we are you could see cows. We are in a field. I think if we would have landed anywhere else in a major city, we would have ended up in the street for sure.
Right.
Let's unpack the timeline for a second. So from the time the big
that turbulence and the
turbulence drop, then it calms down for a while,
Mhm.
and it's like just a regular
It's
flight
like it
for
never
a bit.
happened.
It wasn't a regular flight after that. It was just regular turbulence. Just still shaky.
And so you're calming yourself, because I'm trying to like track the like emotional experience from holy goodness.
The scariest part for me was up in the sky.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was in trouble until I saw grass.
So, but you're calm. You have that crazy experience in the sky. You're calm
I
for
would
a
not
bit.
be calm. I just want to.
No, you would be an absolute wreck.
Well,
But-
and I want to say that like once that happens in the sky, the rest of the flight, I would be thinking that that's going to happen again.
Yeah, you're
100%.
anticipating.
So,
you're
so-
anticipating the next.
You don't really. I mean, you're basically also what you're describing is literally what trauma is.
Yeah.
You have a traumatic event, and
then you're-
certain people don't kind of have the. People
the
have different.
baseline isn't coming back.
People have different abilities to re-regulate,
Mhm.
and like I'm
Yeah.
the kind of person like. Every time, I don't mean to put this in your head, but
No, the
that's where
jolt.
I'd
But
be.
that's
That like
how I am too. I'm anticipating it's going to happen again.
you had to fly the next day.
But
Oh, sorry.
But hold on. Okay. So my use of the word calm was inaccurate. I mean, you're not on the ceiling of the plane anymore. So you're back in your seat. You're hypervigilant from what just happened. Then maybe half an hour goes by and you start the descent, right?
Ish. Yeah.
Okay. Then you go down and you look over and the runway is not where it's supposed to be. Does that immediately trigger like more panic, or is it like
I did feel panic because I could feel us not slowing down. So when I felt us not slowing down, I'm like, and then
something clicks for you?
Yeah, because you're on the ground, you feel the wheels,
Yeah.
but you're not slowing down.
That's terrifying.
So you don't feel the brake, you don't feel the reverse kicking in, that pull.
Yeah.
So that knowing, and from the time the plane stops, is probably only a few minutes, but that probably felt like, I would imagine, an eternity as you start, and then you see the cows. And then how does the plane actually come to a stop? Like
the
what?
dirt and grass, the dirt and the wet dirt and grass is what
this
slowed
is
us
not
down.
acceptable.
And are you like tilted sideways?
No, and they said that we're lucky that we didn't tip over because we came in and fortunately the dirt and grass, everything was level. It wasn't like we were on a hill or
You
something.
could have been
tip.
anywhere.
They said we could have easily tipped, but we didn't. So
You holding your babies?
Yes,
Did you feel?
I was like this.
Yeah, I'm curious. That
And it's
we
funny,
call it
one-
maternal instinct, but that parental instinct.
Yes, one dog was like, "Oh my God," and the other one's like, "Are you? Don't wake me up." the other dog can sleep through anything.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's it like when you stand up after that and like are
wobbly
Wobbly,
legs.
yeah.
You're scared. You're nervous. like-
Adrenaline.
yeah.
What's the rest of that day like?
Yeah,
for
well,
you,
so-
though? I'm like, because I'm like, you're trying to, because going back to the hypervigilance, like you have to regulate after that. You have to, yes, you have to get on a flight the next day, but until then,
We had a show that night.
Yeah.
you did show that night.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, because we've talked about this, and this is one of the things that I love to hear you talk about. You have this incredible ability to have this stage presence, and the sort of persona. And then there's the person, that when we get into bed and we're by ourselves,
Yeah, we're all humans. We all feel fear, and
Right.
if something happens to us, we freak.
Right. So then what is that like to sort of say, all right, I'm going to put this other hat on that is the hat that the public knows me as? Like, was there a moment where you were like, I shouldn't go on stage tonight?
No, there was no part of me that said I shouldn't perform. If
Fascinating.
anything, I felt like everyone's gonna know what
Mm.
kind of day I had, and I think we're all gonna have a different level of appreciation for the show and
Yeah.
the fact that it's still happening. As soon as I got off the plane, I just took a look around, and you could just see the tracks from the wheels, and you could see how far the runway is, and you're like, wow, we overshot it by that much.
Wow.
And I just started, taking pictures. I figured there's going to be some phone calls. I've been in a couple accidents. They always say, hey, take pictures,
Yeah.
take pictures, take video. And so I'm just kind of like recording. And
Wow.
I even recorded a video when I was shaking, and I didn't post it, but I recorded a video.
And it's shaking.
And I'm like, yeah, the show's still going to go on tonight, whatever.
Wow.
And I posted just the picture of the plane and panning to see how far the runway was. And I just, we overshot the runway. We're okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I have never in my 26 years of being an entertainer did something that got so much attention. Like, I'm like, really? This is what's going to do it? This is what's going to make, of everything that could happen, everything that I've accomplished, near death. That's what's going to,
Wow.
Harvey from TMZ called me personally
Wow.
to ask me if I was okay. And which I thought was real sweet. It was real nice. Once I was on the phone with him, and, a couple minutes later, bling,
Wow.
I got that little update. I'm like, he was ready. He was ready.
Finger on the button.
Yeah. But everyone knew.
Yeah.
Everyone knew, and I reached out to a few people to let them know, hey, before you hear about it on the news, one of them being my son, who apparently doesn't watch the news, because once I got back home, I said, hey, so did you see it on the news? He goes, I don't watch the news. I go, you didn't hear it? Nobody called you? Nobody? No.
You don't go on the internet?
I go, how'd you find out about the crash? He goes, because you told me. Well, not the crash, but I mean the
Yeah,
emergency
yeah.
landing. And it was funny because we went to go eat, and while we're at this restaurant, people kept coming up to me. Are you okay? Are you all right? We saw what happened. And I kept looking at my son like, see, it did happen. It did happen. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I went up on stage that night, and I told the crowd, I says, you know what? I work really, really hard to break stereotypes and try to do what I can to rise above certain situations. And I said, but for some reason, this Mexican still ended up in a field today. Got a big old laugh, and all right, let's move on. And in the movies, the pilot always knows when something's about to happen, and the pilot, you always hear, brace for impact. Every scary movie where there's a plane situation. But in this case, it was quiet. Nobody said anything. There was no seatbelt button. There was no nothing. You usually get the boom.
Yeah, I've seen Airplane. I know what happens.
No, we didn't hear from the pilots until maybe a minute after the landing, when the plane finally stopped. Then the door opens up, and he's like, you good? You all right? Yeah? Okay. I think they were very shooken up. I think it took them a minute to, all right, let's not go in there and let them know that we almost died. Let's just, hey, this is normal.
Cows.
And so then the pilot, he put on his pilot voice. We're lucky they landed the plane, but I made fun of him a little bit. He's like, well, we could have just taken off again and then try to re-land.
Like, you're the Millennium fucking Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, just like.
So and that would have probably freaked me out more, to land, not stop, and then, whoa.
No, it's not a roller coaster.
Yeah. So.
I have a funny question. Do you ever wonder what it would be like to sort of not have the public to tell about things? Meaning, like, things happen to people all the time who don't have Instagram accounts or Harvey calling them. Do you ever wonder sort of how much your experience changes because you know that people will know things about you?
All the time. Social media, and just that the fact that you do things and people know instantly what you're up to. That's part of that, I think, is an addiction, because you're like, it's attention, and people in show business love attention, good or bad. I'll be the first to admit I'm an attention whore, but I was traveling before social media was a thing.
Yeah.
I was doing this before social media was a thing, and I was never concerned about, I was concerned about promoting my shows and getting people to come and see the shows, but sharing, I only shared when I was on stage. Like, you had to find out what was going on in my day if you came to the show. And then I would vent on stage about things that would
That's
happen
how
to me.
I learned about your life, was I'd watch your specials and be like, oh, he's got a kid. Like, all the things that I learned about you.
Yeah, but the fact that now we have social media, I think that for me, it's definitely an addiction because I'm always on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I wasn't because I see how much time it takes away from other things that I could be doing. But I am definitely, I'm addicted to it.
Just last question about this whole plane business.
Nice.
Next day, you wake up, you have to get on a plane again.
Oh, yeah.
What's going through your mind and what does your stomach feel like?
Oh, everybody was like, you don't feel like renting a car? I'm like, if we rent, it's a 9-hour drive. And everybody was volunteering to drive.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Everyone was volunteering
It's a
to drive.
9-hour drive that doesn't involve getting on an airplane.
Yeah, but if you don't get on that plane that day, that's a slippery slope too.
Like you might never get on a plane again.
I'm a person who plays odds. And the odds of you having two situations back to back is super.
Did everybody have to do what you did?
Well, everybody had a bet, make my bet, basically. No, but seriously, everybody wanted to drive. They all wanted to drive, and I'm like,
they wanted to drive.
Like, you know what? I go, we're gonna be okay. Now, what I found interesting is my new tour manager. He had been in a situation similar to that on another plane in the same state, which I found interesting.
But so you do the logical, okay, you evaluate the odds, not a high likelihood it's going to be in the same situation. But what is is your stomach okay? Are you still
we all started talking to each other. We're like, all right, everybody, here we go. Take two. Take two. And it was a different plane.
Oh yeah, definitely not getting on the same plane.
I love the fact that as soon as we got on the plane, it had like twice as many goodies on the plane, I think. Because it was still the same people that provided us with the plane. And I think they're like, well, let's try to distract them a little bit. So yeah, it looked like a 7-Eleven threw up in there. It was, snack central.
Like a stripper pole where there shouldn't be.
Oh, and we had a flight attendant now too. So now we had somebody to tell me to put my seatbelt on, which I thought was funny.
Huh.
But yeah, that next day was kind of, okay. But then, we flew, smooth flight, landing smooth. All right, okay, we can breathe again. Now we're back to
gets you more regulated, yeah.
But I actually had to fly three times that week.
Mm-hmm. We talk a lot here about the role that like God or spirituality plays in different components of people's lives, and when I think about what some religious people might say, it would be like God was protecting me. Did you or did anyone else sort of have that notion? Like me personally, God doesn't work that way of like, oh, these people get to live and these people are going to die. Like I just don't have a God that has, the mechanics of the human brain to sort of be making decisions left and right. But I'm curious, was there any like spiritual notion?
Not from me. Yeah. And I didn't see anybody. No one dropped to their knees. No one was, kissing the ground, looking up to the heavens. There was no, let's all hold hands. All right, let's just pray for this flight. No.
Huh. It was a secular experience.
Yeah, no. I think we were all just dealing in our own way, but that's not how I, how I handle it.
Mayim Bialik's breakdown is supported by Hatch. Taking care of ourselves is paramount for our health. Healthy eating and exercise are often a focus, but something just as important that so many people overlook is making sure to get quality rest. With the Hatch Restore, take control of your sleep habits and wake up feeling your best. The Hatch Restore is your bedside sleep guide, your ally in rest. The innovative all-in-one dream machine is a sophisticated sound machine, light and alarm clock beautifully designed for your bedside table. Good rest allows you to be the best version of yourself, which is why the Hatch Restore was engineered to help you form healthy sleep habits for life. Your Hatch teaches your body when it's time to sleep and when it's time to rise with light and sound cues. It coaches you through meditations and mindfulness exercises that transform the time before and after sleep into restful rituals. With Hatch, you'll sleep deeply with white, pink, or brown noise and other sleep sounds inspired by nature. No more jarring alarms. You'll wake gently with a sunrise alarm clock that supports your natural circadian rhythm. Hatch has really changed my sleep game. I'm one of these people who's been slowly adding things. Hatch is all of the things I need in literally one beautiful little unit. It has all the options I want, depending on if I want meditations or if I want noise or if I want nature sounds. And it's all in one gorgeous piece that is easy to operate. I love having it with me in my bedroom. Great sleep can't be forced, but it can be learned. And the Hatch Restore is here to help. Right now, Hatch is offering our listeners $20 off your purchase of a Hatch Restore and free shipping at hatch.co/break. Sleep deeply and wake gently with the Restore. Go to hatch.co/break to get $20 off and free shipping. That's hatch.co/break.
You had this unbelievable, monumental kind of, set of years in comedy. You've already made history in so many ways, but it's been an enormous time for you. And you talked about in your show that we saw, we got to see you in a club. We saw you at the Improv in Brea, and it was fantastic. It was a very, very moving show. And I know you do a lot of shows, but for us, it was, our experience with you. And
it's also just awesome to see you in that venue. Like,
oh,
it's
live
so intimate.
is,
It's
yeah.
so intimate, and
yeah.
it's just like
There was some really, really touching stuff that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked with vulnerability, and I think your comedy is this really awesome mix of like really, really joyful entertainment, like let me entertain you. But also there's always hints, of
I think
the things.
it's definitely a therapy session for me,
Yeah.
because I will open up and vent.
Well-
If I'm dealing, I try to, talking about it always helps to you air it out.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what felt so special, and I think every one of your shows is probably special for the people who are in the audience, but like everybody takes, and what we were really struck by was your discussion of sort of like burnout, your discussion of exhaustion, of sort of being this person out there and also having your own experience, of the world and life. And you were, I think at that time, newly single-ish. I think it was still new that you were, talking about sort of regrouping. And I wonder sort of if you can talk a little bit, people ask us a lot about burnout. And I think it's sometimes easy to think about it in terms of someone with a career like yours, where you're so clearly, on a schedule and doing
Go,
so
go,
much,
go.
go.
Yes.
But people even who have, not a go schedule can experience that too. Can you kind of talk about, I think people would find it really relatable, even though it's on a bigger scale for you in terms of like the shows and the schedule and the calendar. Can you talk about what that kind of feels like to say like, I need a break, like I need some time? What does it feel like that motivates you to do that?
Well, when I get to that point, and unfortunately, I'm not good at pumping the brakes and slowing down when I should. I get a lot of people telling me, dude, you really should kind of, and I'm like, no, I got to be in Fargo. They need me in Fargo. Unfortunately, every time I get to that point, it's because I've already gotten like, I see it coming, but I still work through a lot, because I feel like when you work through it, when I'm working, I don't have to deal with certain things. I'm on stage. I'm talking about certain things, but I'm not really dealing with them because I'm out there on the road. But then I do, it takes a while. But when I get to that point, I just want to go home. I just want to get in my bed, again, turn on the AC, just pet the dogs, chill. I don't even watch TV. I just want to just be there. But yeah, it does get to to those places from time to time, and how do you handle stress? Some people, I'm not gonna lie, I do drink, sometimes in excess. Why do it if you're not? I don't medicate any other way. I used to smoke back in my 20s, and now I was good. It was nice, but now I need my voice. But I do from time to time need to just go home. But unfortunately, you can't just stop a tour, and I've done it. I have stopped a tour, and man, it takes a lot to get back to that place.
Yeah.
Because, I always give that analogy. You're trying to keep that beach ball in the air, you look away and it's going to come down. And then to get it back up there again is like, ugh. Like in 2017, that's when I took a serious hit. And I just got off the road. And that's when I actually was going through the whole situation with my relationship. I couldn't deal. there was no way for me to be functional out there. I wasn't being productive. I was not enjoying myself. I was dealing with stuff at home. And it's just like, the stage isn't helping. Because now I got to go out there and put on a fake smile every night and try to get through the show. And I'm like, the last thing I want is to crack on stage. You know, I'll do it when I get off stage. But if I do it on stage, that's not going to go well. So I just, pull the plug.
And you could feel that pressure starting to come. Like, I guess I'm not a performer, but I would imagine if you can feel that pressure as that's trying to impact your performance persona, like that's a pretty clear sign. Wait a second. It may not be as safe up there as I thought.
You know, I mean, for the most part, I can usually deal with things up there. But every now and then something comes across the table that's like, I might need to go home.
And you recently took a bunch of time to, not play massive venues and start to play more clubs. How's that been?
That was actually very therapeutic. It was very helpful because, of course, every night I would tell the crowd, I go, I know you guys are like, didn't he just have a special where he performed at a freaking stadium and now he's here at the Chuckle Hut in Davenport? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, all right, what happened? And it was a negotiation I had with my team. I says, look, I know that we all want to, it's a business. We're all in show business. I go, but I need to fall in love with this again. And I feel like it got to such a crazy place where it just became this machine. And once it's a machine, there's so many people that are affected by it. It's not just me and a couple people. Like I literally I'm responsible for like 30 people, when you break it down. And so I wanted to be able to work on a new show and feel like I don't want to be a comic who has attention and not a show that's solid. And the only time I felt like I could really build a strong show is if I was at a club versus building a new show in an arena or somewhere, because every time you walk on stage at an arena, it sounds like you're killing no matter what. It's loud the whole time, but at a club you could hear a pin drop. And so I says, let me go back to clubs for half a year. And after that, I'll be a good little hoe and I'll go back out on the road and do all the big shows that you guys think I should be doing. But the difference is I will have a solid act, a strong, solid act.
Well, there's a theme in this that I think is, it's powerful for me, which is to be able to know what you need in the face of a ton of voices. And that gets amplified when you're in the public eye, like you two are, in a way that I can't even begin to fathom, because when you are responsible for people, when like the accountant is like, well, this could happen if you go to these stadiums, and you're like, well, I need my creativity. And especially as an artist, to be able to have emotional space, lack of pressure to be able to create, to do the thing. And like the business people don't always understand that in any type of creative endeavor. They're like, well, just, go in your pocket and bring that stuff out and like, let's go to the stadium. And the artist is like, wait, you need a whole set of circumstances or environment in order to feel creative, to do the thing that allows you to keep going. So I think I think a lot of people experience this as like, well, what's the outside world telling me to do versus what we know intrinsically. And sometimes that's hard to access a lot for artists. So I think it's really special
what
that
becomes
you're
harder
able.
is being able to say the word no. It's really hard to say no.
I wonder if there's also something to kind of going back to, smaller venues like that. When you said you kind of needed to fall in love with it again, is there something about like remembering, what young, hungry Gabriel felt like, when you were kind of first dipping a toe in and trying out material? Was there something about like tapping into that person instead of the person who employs 30 people?
That was part of the whole going back to clubs.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like, once you're in a club, I don't have all those luxuries that I have. I wasn't flying. And by the way, I find it funny that it was the week after I stopped doing clubs to transition back into big venues and going from commercial. Because for the whole 6 months, I wasn't flying private because that would have been that's it. But you're just paying for a plane. So went back to my, using Delta miles and all that shit. And so the week after that, that's when I had my whole thing with the plane. But God, I lost my train of thought. Oh, being at the clubs, it very much reminds me of what it was like in the beginning, and it's like just being able to hang out and be in one place for multiple nights versus just, You do your show, you get on the bus, you go to the next.
Yeah.
You know, it was just go, 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 go. Like I never even stayed at the hotels. I would just sleep on the bus. So to actually be in one place and be able to, let's go actually have lunch. Time for lunch. Get to the club, talk to the staff. It was like, it was really, really cool. It was really, and I was still getting my 4 shows in a week because I would do 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, but it was a shorter week for me. And
What'd
so I
you
was
do
still
the rest of the week?
Well, I'm still, doing the merchandise and stuff like that. So definitely
there's other work stuff
creative
that you
with
do.
Merchandise, promoting the merchandise. And there's all kinds of other things that I'm involved in, whether it's voiceovers or, doing shows and stuff like that. So believe me, my calendar was still.
No, I'm sure. I had another question because one of the things you also talked about in the show that we saw, was sort of about, like what loneliness feels like, what it feels like to be with yourself or what it feels like to be in relation to other people. I wonder, do you feel the difference in attention, in a big venue versus a small, or for you, is it really just about like the material and connecting with people? Like, what does the scale do kind of for you as like for your ego?
I tell people, you walk out on stage at an arena and the I mean, it's an incredible ego feed. It's like, wow. Don't get me wrong. You walk out on stage in front of 300 people at a club. It's still awesome. That's still 300 people. It's not like a dozen. It's still a significant amount of people that came out to see you.
But it feels different.
It feels different because it's just magnified. It feels good either way. But the difference is, one, I know it's like, okay, it feels good. And I also know that it's a big payday. And unfortunately, I got to that point where that's why I said, I just want to go back to clubs because by performing at the clubs, it is absolutely not about the money. It is strictly for the love of being
the
there.
material, yeah.
And that was one thing I would say every single night. And it felt good to say it. I said, my favorite part about being here tonight is knowing that I don't have to be here. I want to be here. And I handpicked every single club and places that I wanted to just go and hang out for a couple of days and wasn't, doing the business that they wanted me to be doing. But at the same time, I felt like I was in control of what I was doing during that time. And clearly, see, I said bye to Delta and you saw what happened. I let someone else run it.
I'm just struck by, I can't help but, think about your experience versus like mine, let's say, I perform in such a different way. Being a comedian is the way you are. You get such an instant, kind of set of information that you then get to mold and work with. If something's not working, you can make a joke about it not working, or you can alter it, or you can add. And it's kind of interesting when you do like scripted work. Like I worked on a TV show for 3 years in COVID. Like we didn't even have an audience. Like it's so awkward. And just thinking about sort of who decides what's funny, who decides what works. You really get to be kind of in charge of so much of your life.
That is my favorite part about being a comic is that you have instant information.
Yeah.
Instant information. You're doing good. You're doing bad. You know it right then and there based on what you're putting out. And every time I would do like a film or with TV show, if it's a live studio audience, then I know I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And that's why I would play the game during the week and all right, I'll stick to the script. I'll say the line that I don't think is funny, but all right, I'll do it. I'll give you at least one good take on it and I'll sell it. And then when they say take 2, my turn. And so anytime we had a live studio audience, I would always go off, the rails and just start ad-libbing and having fun with the show. I'm like, yeah, the show has my name on it. Let me take a swing. But when I did like with movies, I'm like, the first thing I did, the first movie I did, I was talking to the director and I go, is it funny? Because it's hysterical. I go, no, nobody's laughing. And he goes, they're not allowed to laugh.
Yeah.
He goes, it's like, I'm like, oh, but it feels weird, man. I feel like,
Yeah.
And so it's a different feeling. You need that confirmation. You need that reassurance.
For sure. I mean, it's probably like one of the earliest ways that we as humans, try and figure out if we're funny. Like, are you getting laughs in class or from whoever you're trying to get laughs from? I tell that story. I used to do impersonations for this kid at my bus stop. I went to public school. Chris Engel was his name. And it's like, if I could make him laugh, Like I knew, right? I had done something right.
That's how I feel about making you laugh.
Nice.
She's my Chris Angle.
Um,
And by the way, trying material out on friends or family or just people around me in small circles never ended well.
why?
It for some reason it's like the magic works on stage.
Is it you or is it them?
I think it's a combination of the two because, they know I'm trying something, and so then you kind of look at it through those eyes. Like, all right, let's see. I think I'm hysterical off stage, but not with material. It's funny. We're just having a conversation, and I'll say something off the wall, and
Right.
but half the time that's stuff that I would never say on stage. But between friends, you say stupid things.
Does your kid think you're funny?
I don't know. I do make him laugh all the time.
If you don't know, that's a good indicator, my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
You make him laugh.
I make him laugh again, not with material,
Right.
but not with what happens on stage.
Yeah.
But I think in person, I'm always mess around, say something silly, stupid.
Does he watch your stuff now? Does he ever go to shows?
I don't know. He goes to a lot of my shows because his girlfriend is a big fan, and the brother of the girlfriend, and so they've been coming out quite a bit.
Do you feel different performing in front of him?
Yes, I do. It terrifies me when he's in the room because I will talk about him from time to time, and even though I said in my last special I was done talking about him, but I'm like, nah, there's still a couple left, just a couple, and so I will intentionally avoid bringing him up if I know he's there.
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't want to make it awkward for him and girl, whatever. But at the same time, I don't know how he sees it now. It's been so many years of me doing it.
Sure.
And I never took him into consideration because I figured, hey, he's not listening at the house. Well, he's going to, this is how he's going to help me help him. And so that's why it was that whole, I don't hit him. I don't yell at him. I go, but I will shame him publicly until he does what he's supposed to. But now you can't do that. Now you're a bad parent,
My son who's nearing 18, he recently told me we were talking about something kind of heavy, and it was something we disagreed on. And honestly, he argues like I did as a teenager, which is annoying. And now I see why my parents were always so pissed off at me, because he really thinks he's figured out like the deepest philosophical things. And he's very thoughtful. He's very bright, but he is so definitive. And I just want him to be open to the fact that he might not be correct, which again, as an adult is something I struggle with. He's always telling me, you don't know. Anyway, but the thing that he said is he's like, well, I know that if you don't agree with me, you'll just shame me publicly about it. I was like, what? He was serious. I said, what? He said, yeah, well, now I'm shaming him about him saying I shame him. But he said, you don't know everything. He said, you,
what's his name?
Miles,
you don't know everything.
Miles
We
says
need that soundbite.
He says, I will shame him. He says, I shame him intellectually. Because, like, if I want to make a point about something he doesn't know about,
But he doesn't listen to us.
I will.
Does he?
No, he will now. Then I'll never hear the end of it. But what he says I'll do, and I apparently do this with adults too. It's why I'm not very liked. I don't play well with others. That I will school him on all the things that he doesn't yet know about. So if he has an opinion about something politically, well, this is why. And I'll be like, well, but what about blah, 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 and he says I have too much information and I shame him with it. Do I do that with adults? Everybody hates me. Just my kids.
You have a lot of information.
Yeah. I would not want to argue with you, for sure. For sure.
Hey,
how often do you do the show and you see the the answers and you're like, that was weak.
You mean on Jeopardy?
I would have dusted this.
No.
I would have smoked everyone on this show today.
Here's the thing. I'm not a good standardized test taker. I'm not good with my years of data recall was when I was getting my undergraduate degree and my graduate degree. And you have to learn the things they tell you to learn, and you got to spit them back out exactly the way. It's like being a soldier. You are a soldier of information. But once I got into working in kind of like neuropsychology and working with humans, that part of my brain got to go away. I'm not naturally good at I would meet kids who were pre-med students and they were like just wired for information. I was always struggling. That's not my thing. But I have a very hard time forgetting things.
And the things that she does know about, she has a robust amount of information. Like, ask her about Jewish mysticism and like
forever.
dates in the Bible. She'll tell you everything you've ever wanted to know and a lot more.
but Jeopardy wise, it's a very different kind. It's a very different kind of recall.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like the breadth of the amount of information.
And also like, I don't know if you experienced this when you were on Wheel. There's something about sort of like the pressure of like, answer now, you know, you've got 5 seconds to answer. That does something to my physiology that makes my brain stop working. And all that happens is tears. It's the only thing that comes out.
You handled the pressure okay, though. That didn't bother you?
Well, like I said, for me, it was awesome because most of the puzzles, I waited until someone else messed up.
Got it.
And then when I would answer the whatever it was, I said it very slow so that I wouldn't. I almost sounded like questionable, like today is the day for whatever the thing was, because I did not want to mess up. Because I guess the biggest mistake that people make is they leave off an S.
Mm.
Oh, and then it's totally wrong.
Yeah.
When I did Celebrity Wheel, and it was me and Vanna White
and Ken Jennings.
So
yeah, that was I watched that episode. Poor Vanna. I felt bad for Vanna.
Vanna picked a couple letters that were already up there, and Pat was like, "Seriously, Vanna?" And she was like, But the thing with Ken, because Ken is, he's a Jeopardy master. Like, he is the GOAT. And so he really is used to like getting stuff right. So if I would guess something, I did a little bit of what you had going. I was like, there's enough letters that I'm a guess. But Ken was like, I knew that. I'd hear him in my ear. I was going to get it. Like, I know, Ken, you know everything, but I got to choose first.
He guessed a puzzle with 1 letter.
Yeah, he's insane.
I've never seen that ever.
His brain is very
unreasonable.
How? It was 1 letter.
Yeah.
I'd like to solve it. Get the fuck out.
That's how I felt.
And so I think watching your episode is what freaked me out, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be like the stupidest person ever.
I just was so anxious. And also, it's very iconic. And look, you've played some of the most iconic places in the world. There's something very Forrest Gumpy about when you find yourself in a location that is so iconic.
I was excited. And the fact that I had such a big heads up, I knew that I was going to struggle with the show. At least I thought I was going to struggle with the show. And so I says, you know what? I want to still make a big statement. And so I had a friend of mine create this amazing outfit for the show. Wow. And so it had a wheel on it, the numbers, it was blinged out.
Hold on. We got to see this.
Oh, I'll show you. It was
It
was the outfit of outfits.
I'm going to ask a silly question. How did you find spinning that wheel was? Let's talk about it.
It's a heavy wheel.
It's a heavy wheel, right? Yeah, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
That's amazing.
I'll send it to you so you can post it.
Here's something that happened to me that I don't think happened to you. I had to be directed in how I was spinning the wheel. You want to know why?
You got wheel correction?
I got wheel correction. You know why? Cleavage. I was wearing.
You were freaking.
It was tits and wheel.
Nice.
That's what it was. It was just tits and wheel. And I think at a break, they came up to me and they're like, when you spin the wheel, can you just like, well, my arms I got to get down there. It's got to hold like, then I'm like a Puritan woman, like, oh, let me cover my, but they should have said, wear a fucking high collared dress. Come in dressed like a Mormon and I would have been fine.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that was my favorite note. I want to.
Well, yeah, you can't get a full rotation, huh? It's like, it's so.
It's and I'm a strong lady.
You pull it's like first you got to pull the wheel, and then once it gets centered with it, then you have to push the wheel. So you have to try to. It should be an Olympic event. That thing, you use everything right here. It's just.
You know who would look the best doing it?
Huh?
Low cut lady over here. I wanna shift a little bit. You're very open about your body, your weight, your kind of some of the changes.
Can't really hide it.
Some of the changes in lifestyle.
What you talking about?
There's some changes in lifestyle. You talked about kind of like losing weight also when your schedule changed, meaning like when your normal way of being functioning shifted, like things shifted. I also, Jonathan mentioned to me that you didn't think you've met a vegan. And I want to know.
Oh, wow.
I want to know about your vegan experience. So you have 2 in the room, me and Valerie. Yeah. And I'm curious because it's something that Jonathan and I sort of talk about a lot. You know, there's different kinds of vegans. Some people do it for ethical reasons and spiritual reasons. And, you know, some people, some very, you know, prominent people have done it when they've had, you know, health stuff where the doctor was like, you need to stop. But I am curious, sort of, I'm curious what your experience is with the vegans that you now know that you know.
Nice. Well, when I attempted to go down that road, it was just because I've tried every other. I was approaching it from a, let me just see if this will help me again as a weight loss thing. I didn't realize you could actually get fatter.
Oh yeah.
You know, like wow. I've met some big ass vegans. And
elephants
I'm like,
are vegans. Biggest vegan on the planet.
It was funny, and you know, vegan and vegetarian. I think what is it? You can eat eggs and drink milk.
So,
I think there's a couple.
Yeah, so vegetarians typically eat eggs and dairy, but there are vegetarians who won't eat one or the other. But vegans typically
nothing. Animal.
And then there are what we call lifestyle vegans. Those of us who don't wear leather or silk or wool or.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah, it's a whole other level. But
nice.
yeah, it's not
Next
superior.
level.
Just it's a different.
It's different.
It's a different philosophy.
It's a different commitment.
But yeah.
So the first time I met a vegetarian, and actually I already knew him, but I didn't know what his diet was. And that's why I found out that you can actually be overweight. Is Ralphie May? You know, rest in peace. I picked him up at the airport when he came to L.A. from Texas, and I picked him up. I had at the time an Oldsmobile Regency '98. It's like they call it a mafia staff car, big old car, right? And so I picked him up at the airport, and he got in, and I was so excited because I was going to take him to my favorite barbecue restaurant. And so as soon as he got in the car, I told, hey man, Ralphie, man, good to see you. I says, I'm gonna take you to this badass barbecue spot. You're gonna love it. And he goes, oh, hey, Big Daddy, let me tell you, I don't eat meat. I go, what? He goes, I'm a vegetarian. And I looked at without thinking. I looked at him. I said, what do you eat? Crops? He started laughing and he goes, no, Big Dad, I don't eat meat. But the funniest part is that he actually would host barbecues. But yeah, I started, you know, finding out that, yeah, you eat a lot of rice, beans, certain things are just real high.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can gain a lot of weight as a vegan. Yeah.
But I guess for me, the reason why I was having issues with after the fact is because every time I would do shows, I'd always try to accommodate, you know, whoever's on the show or whatever. And anytime we had a vegan, it was a mission to fulfill that writer.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, really? And even on the bus, it's like, you know, we had a couple on the bus, and every time I go in the cabinets, I'm like, what is this shit, right? Just eat the cardboard already. And so
it feels like.
It was just more so annoying, and I was just like, why? But that was it. It was more so, you know, just out of like being annoyed.
Sure.
Well, we tend to. I couldn't.
Yeah, we tend to snack, meaning it's hard if you're not a vegan person. It's hard to feed a vegan a full meal, is what I've discovered. So I usually, you know, when I speak or when I do things, I usually just say like carrots and celery and hummus and just call it a day. Don't try and feed me. Don't make me a seitan steak. I don't need a tofu marsala. Just like, just give me snacks and I'll deal with my own, you know, protein consumption on my own time.
How's the lifestyle changes going for you in terms of your own journey?
Well, I think I can honestly say that I've been on probably 90% of the diets that are out there. Just, you know, I've tried everything and certain things. What works for me is when I actually can dedicate time and get on a schedule, because that's the only way you're really going to lose weight or make changes, is to be consistent. If you're not consistent, your body's just going to be like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, it's also your mind,
right? You have to be in it. You have to be mentally ready to go for it.
So hard.
Because I can get derailed on a diet in a second.
Changing time zones, changing eating schedules, doing like it's so hard.
You know, on the road, it was hard for me to eat right before a show, and it's still because when I go up on stage, you know, you're talking, you're moving, and so I'm up there burping, and then I get like reflux. I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? And I felt uncomfortable, and so I don't like to eat before the show.
But then you end up eating so late.
I have to eat after the show. But then by then, what are your options?
Yep.
And so most of the time, I just make myself, you know, peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something, or two, in the green room, or you know, eat whatever. So if you want to put a Waffle House at late at night, or just
that's the other thing that he's really big on that he got me into. So I used to just eat myself to sleep. What? That's not a coping mechanism I'm allowed to do anymore. And he noted, because whatever, I had sleep stuff, and he was like, you eat like literally right before bed. Like I've talked about, like sometimes there's been a chocolate stain, in the bed. And it's very interesting because when I stopped doing that, I realized like, oh, I want to watch TV myself to bed. Like it's that witching hour of nighttime, Like I don't know. I want to make the feelings go away. I don't know. So now I try to listen to a meditation. I read a book. I write in my journal till I'm bored with myself.
Not as tasty.
Right.
Not
Am
as
I right?
tasty.
But no chocolate stains on the sheets.
Birthdays or aliens first? The birthday?
Oh, you want to talk about your birthday party?
Yeah, it was. We had.
It looked fantastic.
Food for days, including food for
vegans.
Everyone here. We had a special station. Yeah, the entertainment we had. It was lucha libre theme, so we had professional wrestling there. Lucha.
Wow.
And it was a show. We had the singers and dancers and a band. A Build-A-Bear station. There was all kinds of different food stations. We had
hold on a second.
Yeah, we had a Build-A-Bear station. And so everybody that came could get a bear, make your bear, and the bear. There was different T-shirts that had like the Gabriel's 47th birthday with a date and everything on it. So like a little.
You know what I call Build-A-Bear? The thing we couldn't afford that I always cried about at the mall. I always wanted that.
How cool is that, right? It's like all it is. You don't want to buy one off the shelf that's already made. You want
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I want to say we had between 600 and 700 people.
Wow.
Plus vendors. So normally a setup, it would take 2 days to do a setup. It took us 3 days.
Wow.
And then I think today they got to go power wash the entire parking lot because some people some people can't aim. And we got to clean the whole building plus a parking lot. Wow. And so it's usually 1 day to take down and clean up, but this is going to take a couple more days.
Did the dogs dress up?
I did not dress up the dogs.
Okay.
Actually, I kept them in the room for the most part.
That's good.
It was a very loud party, and they stress out with a do people, and I don't.
Yeah, so do I. I'm like your dog. I'm small and older, also. I'm like one of your dogs.
We have a
we
little
have a
something
gift.
for
We got you a birthday gift.
What?
We wanted to be there, but we got you 2 things.
2 things. Yeah.
It's not a Build-A-Bear, is it?
No, it's not.
We're going to
It's
explain
heavy.
them, but maybe he gets to open them.
No, I know, but okay, there's one on the side. There's a little one, and then there's a larger one. No pressure. There you go.
That looks heavy.
It's heavy.
Look at that. Oh my God. Yeah, you hear that? Right?
I wouldn't do that too much.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Okay, there's a little one and a big one.
Do the big one first.
Oh, wow. Already saw the name of the company. I have an idea.
Okay.
Suspense.
Not awkward
Yeah,
at all.
suspense. Wow.
Oh. So it's a smoky quartz skull
It
for.
reminds me of that Indiana Jones one where
Yeah.
they found the skulls.
I said the elongated skull.
Elongated skull.
So, Jonathan, what is smoky quartz, and why did you choose smoky quartz for a gift for Gabriel?
For people who are only listening, not seeing the visuals, we have a fairly large smoky quartz
It's heavy.
skull. And we went to a crystal store, and I felt like this may lead into our next conversation a little bit. So
Just tell him what a smoky quartz is.
What is smoky quartz? So it is a stone that's used for grounding, energetic grounding, also energetic protection. It is known to not ward off, but it can be used to I guess ward off energies from external sources. So it helps the person better connect to their internal knowing, which we touched on earlier in the episode, and clearly, you do very well anyway. But this can help amplify it, and also it's just a cool stone.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Happy
the
birthday.
other one is a smaller one.
That one is not so easy to travel around with you. So we got you, I believe it's a piece of tourmaline, black tourmaline, which is also used for grounding and more portable.
This one has like a design engraved in it.
Yeah, I think that's natural.
Yeah.
That's just a naturally
that's its
occurring. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just extracted. So
So-
we
So Jonathan is a crystal person, and he's taught me about them, which kind of relates to what we wanted to ask you about, which was aliens.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy birthday. In terms of things that some people don't understand or are out there, you like aliens and conspiracy theories.
Yes, I do. I think that we are definitely a small little piece of dust in a giant swimming pool.
We watched the Moment of Contact trailer that you've spoken about this event.
well,
Go ahead.
Rogan was speaking about
That's
it
right.
with you.
Sorry.
I don't know if you actually got to watch the documentary since
No,
talking.
I didn't
We
get
haven't
it.
watched it
We haven't
yet
watched
either,
it
but we
either.
watched the trailer right before this because we wanted to tee up this idea to talk to you about.
They say they
That-
captured one and they put it in the hospital.
But I think they've been saying that they've captured one for a long
This was in
time.
Brazil.
Mm.
It was in 1996. I'm fascinated.
She was freaking out during
I was
watching the
freaking out
trailer.
watching
And
the
I'm
trailer.
not saying that it's, BS or anything,
Sure.
but, it's just like, all right, it's always never something more credible. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they got video, but there's always a video. There's always a thing, a
Right.
moving object. But even if only 1% of
Right.
everything or 0.5% or even a speck is
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
I mean, I'm also just, there's often, I'm a huge X-Files person. Like I don't know if you were an X-Files person.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm always also
the truth
interested.
is out there.
Yeah, the truth is I have a t-shirt that says that. But I'm also always kind of interested in, how much it comes back to like, what is the government covering up? Like that's always a thing.
So either avoiding the whole panic, because I think if everybody knew,
Right.
like, and it was confirmed, then it's like, all right,
Right.
how are you going to, is it going to turn into The Purge? You know what I mean? Is that what's going to happen tomorrow? Like, oh, well, they're here. Because I've always said it too. We're just, have fun. As soon as the aliens get here, get ready. Because I think it's, at least with me, like, yeah, this is not going to end well.
Have you ever had any specific experience with anything supernatural or out there?
I can't say that I have.
Huh.
I can't say that I have. But I mean, I do the math on that. And it's just, there's no way. There's the universe is just so massive. And like,
Mhm.
really? We're the ones? We're the ones that get all the life? Okay. All right. And some people still think we're flat. And I'm just like, okay.
So what does it mean to you to think like when you think that we can't be the only ones? Like where does it go next for you?
Well, there's only so far you can go with it because then it's like trying
Right.
to understand why. I mean, I always like to imagine like an ant hill. There's all these ants on the hill and they're just all about their own little thing that's going on. They're just going out, they're collecting food for the queen, they're building their nest, and that's all they know. They have no idea that, on the other side of the world, there's another ant hill and millions of ant hills from here to there.
Mm.
They just think that that's them right there.
Mm.
And of course, we're right here watching them and you're like, oh, look at the ants. And sometimes we're cool, we leave them alone. And sometimes we're assholes. And give me that magnifying glass. Watch this. Sometimes you pour water. I mean, they're ants. And so people, what I mean? And so what's to say that there's not somebody who's, maybe there's aliens that are nice and pleasant and they want to help grow other species and stuff like that. And there's got to be some aliens that are dicks. There's got to be the dicks of their community. And they're like, they will die, and freaking, incinerate versus helping to grow. Because, I mean, like, for example, we're right there trying to teach chimps sign language to better communicate with them.
Sure.
We want to help them, be their best version of them to try to understand and communicate. And what's to say that that's not what's happening out there? Like, we see these freaking hairless things down there. They're, they're walking around. They know how to hold sticks and stuff like that. They can be taught.
Mm.
They can be taught, because the amount of technology that we have, developed in 200 years, not even 200 years, is insane.
Yeah.
When you think about, how long ago it was just a horse and a wagon.
Mm.
And like, smoke signals were like, oh my God, right? Look, they're sending smoke signals and like, look at that. They're look at, ooh. And now it's like you send a text and literally anywhere in the world.
It's crazy.
And that's mind-boggling when you think
Yeah,
about
for
it.
sure.
So you think that we could potentially be already influenced by whatever the other anthills are in our
Ye-
universe?
There's a lot. I mean, I look at the pyramids, and when you see the level of precision.
Yeah.
And like, I got a contractor who cannot put up a fucking drywall thing to save his life. And dude, what's so hard about getting it straight? You can't really. And he's got hammers and he's got a laser level and he's got like, everything there and 4 other guys and he can't get the thing right. I'm like, how is it that people were able to get these massive, each brick is like the size of an elephant. How are you able to get that as straight, and like how?
I went to, I've been to Guatemala and I went to the pyramids, like in the jungles of Tikal, which is this unbelievable, civilization with these phenomenal structures. And then I went to Yucatan and I went to Chichen Itza and, to those ruins. And, I've been to Egypt. I've been to Cairo and I've been to Luxor and I've seen them and like everything you said. But when you go to like Chichen Itza and you see like the astronomy that is connected with the architecture, I mean, there was a planetarium and it doesn't look that different from the way we build planetarium, and there was like a whole thing that like when the moon was this way, it would line up and you could see the serpent god coming to, and it's like perfect. And like the geometry is so perfect. And I don't mean to be like, how did indigenous people, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that long ago, right? There was, I mean, they would say that it was divinely orchestrated, that the wisdom, the architecture, like all of that artistry is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know that I'd say that it's alien.
But there was clearly a certain level of intelligence back then. Now, whether it was from somewhere else.
For sure.
Or whether it was just the smart people of that time.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, those people aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why people fuck up on Wheel of Fortune. Just put an S on it.
I wonder if we are being influenced in some way, and there, are the asshole aliens and the ones that are helpful. Is it that there's some conflict between those two forces for how we progress? Are we?
Well, I think of also people talk about like the vortexes in Sedona, and the vortex. There's one in Ojai, and there's one out in Palm Desert where this guy built a structure. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a structure that was built that he believed the aliens would come down to. It's in the middle of Palm Desert. You can visit it. There's no metal in the building. You go there and do sound baths. I think most people do shrooms and go there, but I did not do shrooms and go there. But it was built, and I also, a lot of these regions that have vortexes, indigenous people also lived there, gathered there, and had tremendously significant religious ceremonies there. So there's also this notion for me, like, I don't know if it's alien, but there's something that is alien to our cognition, that happens in certain places. But maybe it's aliens. I don't know.
New fluffy special in the vortex.
Yeah, right? No, there's definitely a higher, at least intellect out there.
Yeah.
Whether you want to say it's a life form, there's something out there, because there's no way that some of these places could have been created by luck.
Right.
Luck can only take you so far.
Mm-hmm. When you hear people describe also psychedelic or transcendental experiences, or
other forms of consciousness, it often sounds like what people talk about when they talk about alien abduction. So I also wonder, maybe there are people who are having transcendental experiences and our culture places on it, I've been abducted by aliens, when maybe it's a different kind of transcendental experience. This is a working theory here.
Or maybe, what do we got?
Las Vegas police placed cameras in backyard where aliens supposedly landed earlier
I heard
this
about that
month.
one. That one.
Is there a
sounded
video? Do they have big eyes and a weird head?
Well, you heard about it. What do you think?
You can't really see a whole lot. I mean, it's like,
Why can you never get a clear picture also
Right,
of these
with everybody
aliens?
with
What,
phones?
they're like, oh, I'm going to hide from you. I don't know. There's plenty of things, though, that can happen in the sky that the government is doing or testing that doesn't have to be aliens. Police ready if UFO comes back. I got a couple other things the police need to be ready for.
Oh yeah, they're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
They're so ready.
They're very, very busy. They're very busy monitoring the UFOs in Vegas.
And what's to say that we're not an experiment? That we're not the what do they call the sea monkeys? Remember,
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just sea monkeys.
I don't know.
La vida es sueño. It's just all a dream. I mean, that was also
very possible that we're also not the first version of this experiment, that there have been multiple versions of this human experiment, and that they're just testing, can they get the formula right for us not to kill ourselves?
Well, we're destroying the planet.
Lost civilizations, yes.
We're destroying the planet. Last thing I wanted to ask you about, there's a lot of discussion. I'm learning a lot about AI.
We have a whole segment called Introducing Mayim to Topics She's Never Heard of.
I sort of understand it. Like, I do understand it. I'm a science person, and like, I get the algorithm and the stats. But I was interested to see how it relates to what we do. In that, I've heard people who learned English from me, right? They came to this country and binged Big Bang Theory or watched Blossom, and it's how I hear that a lot from people. Like, you taught me how to speak English, and it's like, well, I'm sorry if you speak like this. I didn't mean for that to be what I'm training people on. But this notion that actors, performers, are I'm sure I've already been utilized.
Well, the models are scraping all the content. So all of your specials, all your interviews go into a model, and then they have, you could type into ChatGPT, tell me a joke in the style of
Fluffy. And
then all of a sudden, that material is technically informed by you, but not owned by you. And that's what the conflict is. And, if they created a model from that could then do a podcast.
I guess this is my question, and there's not a right or wrong answer. I'm not trying to be political, because I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, do you feel threatened by that?
Absolutely. I think we're all going to get replaced as far as the creative goes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that they're showing us what it can do now, it's already way more advanced than what they're allowing us to see.
Right. It's like the aliens thing. It's already happened.
Yeah. It's like there's already a freaking iPhone 20. You know what I mean? It's just, they're just like, they're spacing it out, kind of a thing. AI is very scary, and it's, they've opened Pandora's box. And there's no way to put that away. It's there now. And so now there's going to be the fights of, what happens to people that are creatives?
Right.
What happens to them? And it's like, everybody's worried about the strike right now. You should be worried about AI. That's going to take your job for real. And as a comic, I feel like I'm a little bit safer, but not by much, because with humor, there's a lot. It's open to interpretation, and there's a lot of sarcasm that I don't think artificial intelligence has picked up on just yet.
Yeah,
I think that the music is different, but I think that the sarcasm and double meanings and stuff like that.
Those subtleties of language.
Whether it's language or tone.
Yeah,
that's still. I feel like maybe it's not there yet, but I don't.
I think about facial expressions, especially you. You're so expressive, and I know that things can look very real. I'm told
it struggles with human emotion,
right?
It struggles with what you just mentioned as well.
Right.
Every time I see a filter, every time I see something that's just like, wow, it's scary, and it's like, what are we doing with this? Because for some people, look how fun, look how cool. And I'm like, they don't need us anymore. That's where it's gonna get to. If it continues. So I'm kind of like, all right, well, smoke if you got them.
Jonathan mentioned something about background actors.
It's a big point of contention in the negotiations right now. Studios suggested that they can, for 1 day of pay for a background actor, they can scan their likeness, then replicate them and use them in perpetuity. They would own that scan. And so obviously that person gets 1 day of pay, and then their likeness is being
utilized
forever.
Infinitely, yeah.
Which is, not that dissimilar. I mean, it is very dissimilar, but related to the notion of, if you two have all of your work scraped and they create a model of you two, and then that model goes on to generate new work,
then we go sit on a beach somewhere, have a career.
Nice, right?
Shouldn't that be, shouldn't you participate in that?
You would think that that'd be the case, right?
Yeah.
But there's no rules for AI yet.
Not yet.
No, it's the Wild West.
It's like it is the Wild West. It's the early stages of the internet, basically. It's like we're all like, well, we don't know what to do with it yet, and some people do. And if you can get ahead of it, those are the ones that are going to make money and profit. It's cool when you're playing, but when it comes down to what we do, the only thing that I would say is, live performances clearly will not be affected just yet until the hologram game gets locked in.
Stop it. I'll always want to come see you.
You know?
I don't want a hologram of you.
But then it's like, what if the idea gets presented where, guess what, Gabe? You only got to do one show a year.
Right.
We will feature you in every single venue that you perform in for one night, and it'll look like you're actually there, and you only got to work one day a year. Like, if someone presents an offer to you like that, are you going to be like, nah, fuck that. Let me go get on another plane and almost die. Or are you going to take that check and knock it out? It's like,
well, it depends on how addicted to work you are. I mean, that's the thing, right?
I like what I do.
That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Then you only get one night of applause. You only get one night of hanging with people. But then you could also then go play clubs.
You could zoom in and listen to them laughing at you and your hologram.
But if they compensate you on such an ugly level where you're like, because there's been so many times where I'm I'm not going to do it. Right. No, what? How much?
So that's going to be the question then. Like, what are we worth? Like, what are we worth? What are we worth to ourselves? You know? What's
someone asked me a really interesting question yesterday, and I had to really think about it. And I was like, oh my God, that's a hell of a question. They asked me, they said, if Bud Light approached you to do a campaign, how much would they have to pay you for you to risk all the back and forth? And I'm like, oh, like, wow. And what's crazy is I actually had a figure. And that was kind of disturbing. But I'm like, wow, okay.
How long did it take to get to that number?
I don't know, about less than a minute.
Well, I need to know what that is, but I don't want to say it on camera. So thank you so much for joining us. Please check out the Funko Soda figures. You too can chase the chase. Like we did.
Chase the chase.
What else can people look for?
Miles. You don't know everything. I love you, man.
Where can people go to figure out where you're at if they want to come see you live and in person?
Live and in person before that'll be the name of the next tour. Before AI takes over tour. I'm the easiest person to find online. Just Google the word fluffy. If you Google the word fluffy, just one word, I'm the number one thing that pops up. I come before quilts, comforters, cats, cotton candy. I am the number one. Try it. I'm the number one thing that pops up with that word.
And next tour is Don't Worry, Be Fluffy.
So I have a new tour. It's called Don't Worry, Be Fluffy. And it is actually me. It's not AI.
Awesome. Thank you for coming in person. Really a joy to get to talk to you more. And feliz cumpleaños again.
Muchas gracias. Thank you for the gifts.
You're welcome.
The truth is out there.
Mayim, we love having friends in person, especially.
I do my best work in person.
Gabriel Iglesias, and you do your very good work in person. I don't want to end on a downer. I feel like there's a lot of hope for the future, and when we talk about technology and we talk about the unknowns of artificial intelligence, I am not a tech euphoriast and believe that it's going to solve all of our problems, but I want to be hopeful. I want to be hopeful for...
I'm gonna allow you to still be hopeful. I don't know if a lot of people feel hopeful, especially in the entertainment sector that Gabe and I are in. But what I will say is I think that there are still things that cannot be... I want to believe there are things that cannot be replicated. The live experience is exceptional. And honestly, I wouldn't want to listen to an AI version of you and me. I would want to listen to the real thing. And having Gabriel here in person, I think, was a really special way to talk about some of that complexity as well.
What if this is the AI version of us? There's no way to tell.
I'm going to hit refresh. I want a new Jonathan. From our breakdown to the one we hope you never have. We'll see you next time.
It's Mayim Bialik's breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you. She's got a neuroscience PhD or two. One fiction, and now she's gonna break down. So break